Dear colleagues, we are ready to begin our next press briefing for criminal responsibility of all who voted for dictatorship laws on the 16th and for bringing to the criminal responsibility Yanukovych, Communist Party and regimes. We will speak to activists of Avtomaydan, Kyiv, and the civic organization Revolution of Dignity. We have Dmytro Karp, Kuvita, Oleksandr, Olenchenko, please. Good afternoon. My name is Dmytro Karp, and I'm coordinator of Avtomaydan Kyiv and head of NGO Revolution of Dignity. We gave a lot of different press conferences about our activity, and it was about our laws of the 16th of January 16, and also for prohibition of Communist Party, participated in these procedures, and on the 31st of July, we sent 235 statements to the court against MPs who voted for the laws of January 16 and who announced that vote, and they organized. It was organized by Oleksiy and Kateryna, and on April 28 we registered on violation. There was illegal vote, and Oleksiy Kateryna, and the laws, and it's about the law of on January 16, and there is a criminal case against them, and a jail prosecution twice. They brought to the parliament the request to cancel deputies' immunity, and that suspects Oleksiy Kateryna could be arrested, and jail prosecution. And also Rybachuk is one of organizers of that crime, and which brought to heavy consequences and death of our heavily 100 our boys, our guys, and on the we sent into 223 statements to the general prosecution, all who voted, and as it was announced by the counting committee, that they participated in the manual vote. All 35 statements, they used general prosecution, attached them to the case around Oleksiy and Kateryna, and this is the first step, and we believe that this is one of the serious moments. People who violated all the laws, dignity, conscience, they should be brought to criminal responsibility for what they did in this country, and for what happened on Maidan, and that people died as a result of these laws. Also, general prosecution, we helped them with investigation, and we sent a request. It was done by us, civic activists, and general prosecution didn't do that. We sent a request to the human rights manager in the parliament, to Lutkovska, and she gave answer of laws that violate human rights, and they voted for them on January 16. And not all 8 laws were. There was a law also on gas in that package, but the majority of laws, there's a clear conclusion of a person who is responsible for human rights, and which human rights were violated or abused, and we attached that to this case. This is one point. Second point, you know that again they speak about purging And we were always working on this issue from the very first day after Maidan. We started to work on purging, and we developed an alternative law that was 4570 as the law about a broad purging. The law, which was similar to Poland, like they had in Poland and Czech Republic. And in order to purge in general, we should recognize communist regime and the regime of Yanukovych as criminal regimes, and without a profanation of purging, like as Yehor Sobolev and the Vola Party do it, and we saw that profanation yesterday. We started to work in that direction too. On the 31st, we sent a statement. We know that general prosecution investigated many different criminal cases related to Yanukovych, Pshonka, and quite a big number of criminal cases. When you collect all of that together, and we sent a statement about crime of physical entities and criminal groups, and according to articles, quite a big list of articles, criminal articles. It's about a criminal regime of Viktor Yanukovych. As we know, after 2010, after elections of Viktor Yanukovych, in a very short time, first of all, they changed the agenda in the parliament. And that caused illegally unconstitutional, and that allowed her to build a coalition illegally and bring to the separate deputies, two factions. So that's the way they built the coalition. Then they appointed the head of the constitutional court. Next day, 250 MPs sent a request to interpret the constitution, and in such a way they committed state coup. Amendments to the constitution are illegal. Well, they wanted to that required to have presidential elections and parliamentary elections, but they, without any vote, they just published that variant they wanted, that variant of the constitution they wanted, and they called it illegal. And in that agreement in Kharkiv about Russian Navy on Ukraine, that is a to prolong that, and that's a violation of the constitution, and that could be done only through a referendum. Such issues. We sent a statement against the organized criminal group, and we call it a criminal regime, and that was a coalition in the parliament, 252 MPs.
Viktor Yanukovych as head of this group, and all the state officials of high rank that took part in this directly. Also, after prolonged discussions, our claim was registered at General Prosecutor's Office, and they started criminal proceedings, and there's a criminal case, and we control its course, the developments. I have soon to meet the representative of the General Prosecutor, and this is the short list of what we've done recently. And this this is a legal mechanism so that in this country, sooner or later, we can adopt a law on lustration, and do lustration, recognizing the communist regime and regime of Viktor Yanukovych as criminal regimes. And we have also sent a letter to the president with a request to support our initiative as using his political influence. And we also sent him a draft law on the recognition of Viktor Yanukovych and communist regime as criminal regimes. To try to assemble this all, at the moment there are several processes going on. The process to ban the Communist Party. Also, there in 1991 there was a court decision about banning the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. That's about the Communist Party and the communist regime before 1991. We have to distinguish between those things. 235 MPs plus organizers of criminal voting on the 16th of January. This is a separate procedure because we're not going to let it lie. And again, a criminal case on the criminal group of persons so that we can link it to a criminal regime. And then when we assemble this all together, we know we are a legal state and we cannot go and tell people you don't work because we think so. After there's a legal point from which we can proceed, in parallel, we can conduct lustration with a legal attachment to court decisions or to court investigation about criminal activity of those people. Otherwise, we will be just reflecting as a mirror the laws of 16th January, because otherwise we will be telling we're punishing you for the fact that you are bad. In Poland, lustration started in 2 years after they got rid of the regime, and it is still going on, the lustration. In winter, we were in Poland and talked to people who do lustration. They are still accepting lustration declarations, and the process is still ongoing, so we should not think that this will end soon. And I also wanted to say that we are helping Prosecutor General's office. You know, we are helping everyone we can. They are looking for witnesses who could tell them that the laws of the 16th of January really violated their rights, because some MPs come to interrogation, and this is a huge problem because most of MPs refuse to come to interrogation. But even those who went there say that those were normal laws that violated no one's rights. The huge problem is that the people who were arrested, you know, and were active at that time, they are now in the East. And we have great difficulties in assembling all the testaments. You know, you remember this story about the guy who was transporting some tires and he was arrested. We ask everyone to communicate with us. You can find the Avtomaydan Kyiv hotline, and it would be better if you contact us, not the Prosecutor General's office. I'm Oleksander Olenchenko. I'm a lawyer. I'd like to tell briefly about the case about the criminal regime. We, the activists, for the first time ever, and we were surprised ourselves that we were able to assemble in one document as a statement on crime, and we were able to get the criminal case launched according to the fact of a criminal group in Ukraine. You remember that the election of Yanukovych in 2010 was in parliamentary presidential republic. Right after the results were announced, by the way, the elections were recognized democratic. Right after the presidential elections, in an illegal, unlawful way, they changed the law on the procedure in the parliament, which gave the opportunity to create coalition in the form of a faction and individual MPs. This also allowed to ratify Kharkiv agreements, and then they changed the law 2222 about constitutional reform. This law was recognized unconstitutional by the Constitutional Court, and this was legal foundation for the change of the Constitution to bring it back to the version of 1996. Instead of this, on everybody's eyes, the Constitution was substituted for, and the text of the Constitution of 1996 was published, which actually returned the country into the situation of presidential parliamentary republic. We see the after effects of this now. Ukraine lost territory. Ukraine has become the victim of aggression. People died in Maidan, and there was a mass violation of human rights. They were always saying to us that this is a normal political process, but we really insisted that and succeeded in registering this as a crime, because there is a constant falsification of voting, of laws, even of the Constitution. This is not a constitutional process. This is, in fact, a crime where the organization is taking part. This is not a chaotic process. The process was started with the organization of coalition in the composed of Communist Party and Party of Region. Then individual MPs joined, and some factions after the 2012 elections, but it is evident that the activity of this organization was aimed at usurpation of constitutional power and using it in unlawful way, and this all led to hard consequences, grave consequences. So this organization has to be drawn to responsibility in legal field, not, punishment, but an open court process where all the facts should be made public. People have to understand that any crime, even if it is perpetrated by the president or MPs, has to be final, it should result in a court procedure and punishment. So our task is the court on criminal regime.
We did organized many events to educate people, just to show who these people are, who brought the country to this state, who usurped power, who brought to the death of people, who brought to Russian aggression. And we prepared this information about those people who voted on January 16, and we are going to run a campaign, education campaign, and for people to read those names and for them to know whom. It's not a secret for us, and that very soon they are trying to appoint new elections to the parliament, and that is done with one goal: for the same MPs, for the same dirt, which is there, and for them to be re-elected, but in different suits and in different political parties, and they will buy seats in ruling parties, etc., etc. So the main goal, as minimum, to prevent these people again, to prevent them from being re-elected. Otherwise, we will not change anything in this country. And for many years, we will just remember that revolution of dignity and the conscience of people who we saw on Maidan and the spirit of our nation, and I'm afraid that they will put it into dirt like they did it in 2004. We want every name to be known by people and to pay attention for whom they vote again. And please vote not for money, not for beautiful picture on TV, but for people who tomorrow will improve your life and who will build Ukraine. Those who want patriots, who take responsibility, and who can do that. Thank you. Activists of Avtomaydan do a lot to bring to responsibility those of that criminal group. Because the parliament was not able to support to pass the election law, the new election law, Ukraine will vote again according to the old election law. That's a big risk. And the system will not change, and the same guys will come will be re-elected. How to come out of this situation? How to reduce that risk? What should be done for people not to elect criminals? I just want to comment this in this way. The voters decided they wanted to have elections on the basis of the old law, the election law. But nobody asked the constitutional court, do we have again the constitution from 2004? What kind of elections did we have in 2004? What will be the decision of the constitutional court in general about legislation which was at that moment and which ideally should be now enforced? Nobody considered that issue. That's the issue of manipulation with these elections. If one party elite gets less than the other, they will just disrupt elections in the constitutional court, and they will try to prove that these this is what they will do. Is it not clear that these elections can end up like in Armenia? Everything is coming to that because people will not allow normal activists. They will not allow. We don't want to have the same parliament, even if it will be renewed by 10%. There will be one more Maidan, number 3, and that can be even worse. There could be a military coup, because every fifth person in this country is in ATO, and they don't like this parliament and these guys, and what's happening there, and what our authorities do. There is a lot of trust to President Poroshenko. We support his initiatives. We want the president and NGOs to change the country, but for that we need to change the election law, and we need to change the constitution. And these elections can be very bad for us and can turn out with this law we have. We don't know when new elections will take place. We as NGOs and participants of civil society, we can press on MPs, but that's their responsibility. They should vote. They should vote for the law which will be clear to people, and people will support. We focus on concrete individuals for those who must not be in our parliament under any law. These individuals should be criminally charged, and they should all of them. There should be an open court, and they should be sentenced, and the door to any for any position in the state should be closed. If the public, if the prosecution opens cases, yeah, they have started. Yes, until the general prosecution does not suspect them officially, they can be elected, or they can hold a position. That's why we are working with the general prosecution, and we help them in this. We have quite normal cooperation, and to prepare as soon as possible to identify all these people and to suspect them and to give materials to a court, and we should be an open procedure. So in general prosecution, they understand. Yes, we have cooperation, and there is understanding. How long can it last? And we know that in Ukraine it can take a lot of time. The law identifies 2 months for criminal case, and but since the moment when there is when a criminal is identified, that's now this yeah, when they have to identify, they have to interview them, and they must inform them about that they're suspected, and then the case will be sent to the court, and then the court proceedings will begin. And because we live in a civic society, we are trying to make this process public. That's why even if we have early elections before, the people must know about these individuals, and for them to know names. And these are small compromises with conscience, and then that compromise comes to that the fact that we have such MPs, and then people had to fight. Where is that list? We'll provide. Do you have it on your website? Yes, on our website and on our Facebook page, Avtomaydan Kyiv. There is a big article, about 6 pages article. I have all of these things with explanations. Is there any question? The list of 235. There is an official site of the Parliament. Open the law of on January 16, and you'll get the whole list. I don't know. I didn't know. I read what Louis say about this charge. He thinks that your charges are not professional, so you just it's just imitation. It's like you're trying to threaten Communist Party. How that lawsuit? How realistic is that lawsuit? I'm a lawyer also by education, and you see, the problem of that lawsuit, or that court procedure, that a claimant only a Ministry of Justice can be a claimant, and we sent information and documents to general prosecution, video materials from it, and the security service says that they know about violations and participation in support and separatism, etc. But the thing is that Ministry of Justice is the claimant, and if the Ministry of Justice would they supply it, we cannot know, because the court used third parties, only political parties, and they refused to us. And here's a claim from physical entities for us to get results sooner, and for us to control this process from civic organizations, but personally from physical entities. And we sent lawsuits and claims, and they did not involve What's going on there? Nobody knows, and there are lots of materials, and what they are doing there, nobody knows. We provided facts, not of that Communist Party for this. We gave a lot of evidence about communist regime, famine, repressions, Crimean Tatars, and many others, and with concrete links to individuals, to what's Sherbitsky shells, etc. We came to this issue quite professional, and Anna Malik helped us, and she is a famous lawyer. So we collected all these materials and sent them to the court. But the Ministry of Justice sent the request to prohibit Communist Party of Ukraine based on what Simonenko told and some activists from Communist Party, what they did. As far as I know, international law about political parties, leader of the party and his sentence expressions, those are the basis for prohibition of the party. If the party leaders of the low level who are not who not on the board of the party is not responsible for their words, and it cannot prohibit it. Communist Party of Slavinsk, for example, etc. Their expression, what their words. So only words of a political bureau like Simonenko, and who is on in political bureau of Communist Party. Why it was the press was there today? Why they wanted to have expertise? The Communist Party wanted to have an expertise not of the phrase which was cut out from the report of Simonenko in the parliament, but to take the whole report and to assess the whole report. And if there is a crime and article, if there is a crime according to Article 109, 110, 111, 110. I asked the Minister of Justice when he spoke about his claim as to prohibition of on communist symbols like they did in Moldova. Nazi and communist symbols of total regimes is prohibited in many countries, and there is such an axiom that if there is no monument of Lenin, no blood, no terrorism, and fight against terrorism. We have to work on that. But after a court decision, we should rename streets like Street of Lenin, Kyiv, etc. Prohibition of communist names with that court decision, or there should be an additional court decision. And altogether, what's the responsibility? I will explain the situation. Such a prohibition of symbols, it's about the prohibition of the regime, which I told you. We sent a letter to the President Poroshenko, to President Poroshenko. We asked him to support it and to recognize Communist Party criminal and the regime of Yanukovych as criminal, and that this requires a separate law, and there should be the prohibition of symbols, etc. That was the practice of all the countries in Poland, Czech Republic, etc. As to no blood, when party of destroyed Lenin. We had a president of Czech Republic we spoke to him. He told in our country something started to change since that moment when Lenin fell down. So they were destroying monuments of Lenin. We did, and we had that wave through that from the country. We still have one Lenin in Zaporizhia. Last night, Lenin monument to Lenin was destroyed, and there's a huge one in Zaporizhia. With this, we would like to thank Avtomaydan Kyiv. We will see you with information on how this case develops and how to bring to responsibility all participants of that criminal regime. Thank you very much. Our next briefing will be at 12 o'clock. Thank you very much.